This video is going to cover everything you are going to need to know if you want to start reselling in 2022. Welcome back to the Freeway Flippers. My name is Liz. My husband Casey and I, we are full-time resellers. We sell on eBay and Amazon. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let's get started with this video talking about things that you're gonna need to know if you wanna start a reselling business in 2022. One of the things that has changed for resellers is how much you make and have to account for on taxes. So before, you would have to have a minimum of 200 transactions or $20,000 before you had to account for that on taxes. They just changed it. So if anyone, regardless if you were a business or an individual reseller, if you do over $600 in revenue, you are going to have to account for that on your taxes. So one of the biggest tips I give people, if you plan on doing a lot of money and selling a lot of items, you are gonna want to open up an LLC. Now, I am not a professional tax accountant. I am not a CPA. However, I know from experience, we did not do this when we first started reselling. And before we knew it, we were making a lot of money and we had everything on our personal taxes. Casey was also still working his W-2. So that just increased and put us in the next tax bracket. So if you are going to be doing reselling and selling a lot of items, I would highly recommend contacting a CPA in the state that you live in and opening up an LLC to separate your personal from your business. So when you first start reselling, you need to think about a lot of things. One of the first things is, where do you want to resell? Are you wanting to start an Amazon business? Maybe you want to do wholesale, private label. Are you wanting to go to thrift stores? Maybe you're going to do Mercari or Poshmark. So those are the things you need to think about when you first start selling. What platform do you want to sell on? And that's honestly going to depend on the products that you purchase. If you're going to go to garage sales, thrift stores, you might just be comfortable doing eBay, Mercari, Poshmark. Maybe you want to start your own private label brand. Maybe you have a product idea that you want to bring to market. Amazon would be a great platform for that. Maybe you want to just sell locally and use Facebook Marketplace and offer up. But that's one of the things you need to think about, is where do you want to sell your goods? I would recommend choosing one platform, mastering it, learn how it works, be able to find something that works for you. And then when you're ready to start selling on other platforms, there's software that will help you cross-list. If you have items up on eBay, it's very simple to use the software and then cross-list it to other marketplaces and start selling on those. So you don't necessarily have to put everything up on every single platform. You can focus on one platform, learn it, and then move on to the next ones. You're going to want to determine what is your budget per month. Now, when you're reselling, you are not just using your budget to buy inventory. There are lots of expenses that come into reselling. You're going to want to buy a lot of supplies. You might have to buy a photo backdrop, so that way you would have a good place to photograph your items. You might have to buy poly mailers, poly bags, so you can ship your items. You're going to want to make sure that you have a Scotty peeler to peel off the labels that you have on items that are from the store. And also maybe use stuff like Goo Gone to help get the store stickers off of the items. You're gonna have to have tape, boxes, packing supplies, things like that. Those are things that people don't think about, but they can sometimes be a cost. You might get lucky and look on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp and find people that are getting rid of bubble wrap or maybe moving boxes that they used and they don't need anymore. So sometimes you can minimize those expenses, look for free supplies, but in the end, you're gonna have to put some money into buying supplies. We use a scale to weigh everything, so that way when we sell something, we know how much it weighs. We also use a thermal printer. We use a Dymo 4XL. That one is a really good one to use because you can print 4x6 labels, and you can also print the little barcode SKUs if you're going to end up selling on Amazon. And in the end, you're not having to pay for ink. It's a thermal printer. The only thing you're having to do is pay for the labels when you run out. You're going to want to think about, where are you going to photograph these items? Now, there are a lot of people that purchase the photo backdrops or maybe a photo box because they want that white background. And that is honestly where a lot of the platforms, eBay even is encouraging sellers to use a white background. But I do know people who are still successful in reselling and just use like the tile on their floor. Maybe they have a really good gray tile that is a good backdrop or photographs. So you don't really have to invest a lot of money, but down the road, if you want to, get serious or you feel like you need to improve your photos, you might have to invest in a photo backdrop. So make sure that you have a space in your home. It could be in your bedroom, and it would be a space that you could utilize it for taking pictures of items. In our little office area, it's called an Arizona room in Arizona. It's just a little space where we have our office. We also have a shipping prep table, and that is where we photograph our items as well. So we like to find things that we can use for multiple things. So our prep table is also where we photograph items. It helps us be able to do it pretty quickly. We don't have to put stuff away and take it out again. It's just already there, and I highly recommend getting some sort of setup for photographs and for shipping. It will just make your life a lot easier. One thing to also do when you first start reselling is have some sort of inventory system. You can see behind me, we use cardboard boxes, and then we use a custom SKU on eBay that we put on the SKU line. I did a video on it, and so if something sells, I will know exactly where it is. We have an outbuilding. It's about 1,200 square feet, so we have a lot of shelving, boxes, and if I didn't have some sort of inventory system, I would never know where something was when it sells. So when it sells, I have the box number, so I know exactly where the item is. It's been very helpful. I made the mistake of not doing that when we first started reselling, and I just put stuff in plastic bins, and I grew the inventory so much to when something sold, I had to look through every single bin, and that is very time consuming. So you want to try to get your reselling business to where it is efficient, it's organized, and you know exactly where things are. When you are going to buy an item to resell, make sure you are doing enough research on that particular item. Whether it's something that you find in a thrift store, in a retail store, maybe you found a lead online, maybe you bought a leads list and you have all the different leads. Never assume that you're going to make money with that item. Definitely do your research. Find a calculator to be able to see how much are you going to pay in fees. What do you think the shipping is going to be? Take into consideration those items. When we go to a thrift store, we use an eBay calculator if there's an item where we are not sure exactly if we will profit or not. And that is something that you are going to need to do, especially if you're going to be selling on Amazon. They have the FBA revenue calculator where you can scan the item, put in the buy cost, put in how much it would cost to ship, and then see what your profit's going to be. And that's really important, because do you want to be buying items where you're only going to profit $1 or $2? When you're reselling on eBay, you have to definitely factor in shipping. I know we have lost money on items because in the beginning we didn't understand how much items cost to ship. So that's something that you need to learn, and you're going to learn through trial and error. One of the things that we have been doing is any items that we find that are over 3 pounds, we have been charging for standard shipping, so that way they will ship UPS or FedEx. We have found that anything more than 3 pounds through the Postal Service, unless it's going from like Phoenix to California, like around the LA area, or maybe Phoenix to Colorado, Southern Colorado, sometimes those post office charges aren't as high. But if we're shipping from Arizona to New York and that item's over 3 pounds, the cheapest is usually going to be UPS or FedEx. So definitely when you're looking at an item, don't just buy it and then look at the items sold on eBay and think, okay, I buy it for $10, it's selling for $30, I'm going to profit $20. You will not profit $20 because you have to factor in eBay fees and the cost to ship the item. So there are a lot of fees that are built into the item when it's sold. So make sure you're taking that into consideration when you're looking up items to resell. Now, we all know about social media. Sometimes the things you see on there aren't always the truth. They might be a little exaggerated. One of the things I've noticed is you see all these Amazon Amazon sellers that have these huge screenshots of all this revenue. They did $40,000 this month. That's great and it's awesome, but don't think that those people are making $40,000 a month. You have to factor in the cost of goods, the fees, returns, all of that. I would say a lot of people are operating on about a 10 to 20% margin. So if you do $40,000 in sales, you might only be profiting $4,000 to $8,000. So don't be fooled by some of the screenshots that you see on social media. Know that those people definitely have expenses that they need to be factoring in. And yes, it's fun to see how many sales you can get, how high you can get your revenue, but just be realistic that that screenshot that you see of the $40,000 is probably not what they're bringing home. That is why I think it is very important to have some sort of spreadsheet. I know on Amazon they have Inventory Lab where you can see your profit and loss. There's a lot of people that I ask, what are you profiting though? Because that is so important. How much money are you pulling out of Amazon that you can then use to pay a bill or reinvest your profits? A lot of people don't know that because they don't have software that they use. So it's really important to know your numbers. That's why we always know our profits for Amazon every single month, which we profit with our private label anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 profit a month, which seems like a lot, but that money is not what we're seeing go into our bank account. We then have to use that to rebuy product. That's just the reality with selling on Amazon, especially private label products. And then on eBay, we use the Easy Auction Tracker spreadsheet to be able to see exactly how much we're profiting. That is just good data to have. That way you know, okay, I am making this much money. I need to step up my game, or maybe I need to figure out which stores am I making the most money from and then focus on those in the end. There are a lot of ways that you can find product to resell. Retail arbitrage, where you're going out to retail stores such as Big Lots, Ross, maybe a grocery store or hardware store. You're finding items that are heavily discounted and then you're looking on the different marketplaces to see if you can resell them for a higher profit. That's retail arbitrage. You can do the same thing with online arbitrage. A lot of people use tactical arbitrage software to scan all the different websites out there and find items that are discounted that they can then turn and resell for a higher profit. We mainly do private label on Amazon, where we created our own brand. We contacted manufacturers, order in bulk, we put our brand name on it, and we sell those particular items on Amazon. It's called private label. That's a different thing that you can do if maybe you have a product idea that's new to market, or maybe you'll use software like Jungle Scout to find products that are low barrier to entry that you can find and you can resell. And it's really creating a brand. I highly recommend private label because in the end, you are building the brand. You're the only person that's listed on that listing. You control it, and that just gives us a little bit more security than retail, online arbitrage, wholesale, where we're depending on retail and online arbitrage on those particular stores having discounted items. Sometimes you only find a few of them at a time. A little bit more challenging to find replenishables that you can purchase over and over again. That's where wholesale comes in, but wholesale has a lot of challenges as well, trying to find those products where you contact a distributor, buy from them, and they're kind of the middleman to give you the product. Now, the reason why we do private label is because we, like I said, we want that total control. We want to create a brand. We want something that we can down the road turn around and sell. And that's why we do like private label. If you're interested in that, we do have a private label video series. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check those videos out and learn more about private label. There is also wholesale, and wholesale is a good one if you can find a good distributor. Like I said, it's something we don't really do a lot of. We have done wholesale in the past, but we mainly do private label and then also go to thrift stores to resell on eBay. Now, I know retail arbitrage and online arbitrage is a little easier barrier to entry if you want to start reselling, but what I've seen a lot of, which I don't know if a lot of other resellers are talking about, a lot more brands, main brands, are starting to send IP complaints to resellers. I'm seeing a lot more people get restricted on the brands that they can resell, and I think it comes down to a lot of these brands are learning the power of e-commerce, are learning how to put their products on Amazon. So they're really restricting how many resellers can resell their product. So that's why I recommend private label, to at least see if it's something you're interested in, because you're not dependent on those brands. You control it. You don't have to worry about getting an IP complaint from brands because you are the brand owner. From the beginning, find some sort of spreadsheet to use. Now with Amazon, we just pull the sales data and we have an Excel doc that we use, that we put in all the sales, the revenues, the refunds, any of the expenses that we have. But we also, for eBay, we use Easy Auctions Tracker. We have to purchase it every single year, but I really like it. It only works for a PC and it only pulls the sales data up to 90 days. Anything more you would have to put in manually. But if you are new to reselling, I highly recommend purchasing something like that. That in the beginning is going to be a good place that you can track inventory, expenses, maybe the mileage when you're driving around, and then also it syncs the sales so you can see exactly how much you're paying in fees, shipping. All of that data is in the spreadsheet, and at the end of the year when it comes to tax time, it will make your life a lot easier because you're not having to go back and then try to calculate all the information. We made that mistake when we first started reselling. I did not keep track of inventory, and it definitely took me days to figure out. So I highly recommend using a spreadsheet. I'll leave the Easy Auction Tracker down below. There are other software out there or spreadsheets, so just go Google it, maybe look on YouTube, figure out what other resellers are using, and it's just a good tool to have from the start. A lot of resellers look at their state and see if there is a resale certificate. Some states charge sales tax, and yes, Amazon, eBay will collect sales tax on your behalf. However, when you go and purchase your items from a retailer, when you're doing retail arbitrage, you're also paying taxes on that item. So a lot of resellers will look at their state, get a resale certificate. Not all stores accept them, but you are then less likely to pay the sales tax if you have the resale certificate. So just make sure you check it out for the state that you live in. One tip would be, do not get attached to your inventory. You're a reseller. You're going to have items that you purchase that are bad buys. As much as we try to buy items that we will profit from, there are items that we do not profit from. And we have had a lot of bad buys, and that's just the name of the game. That's part of reselling. So don't get attached to your items. If you see an item that's been sitting there for a really long time, either try to sell it at a discounted price or donate it and use it for a tax write-off. Don't keep inventory. You are in the business to sell. You are not in the business to store. I would also recommend trying to network and connect with other resellers in your area. We actually attended a Hustler Hacks meetup where we met several resellers, but one of them, his name is Josh. He actually sells sneakers. He has an Instagram. If you're interested in selling sneakers, he is a good person to follow. And really, because we've been friends with him, we actually just went to his 30th birthday party in Mexico. We've become really good friends, but it's also so beneficial to be friends with other resellers in your area because it's all to help you. You network with them. They can share tips that they have. They'll let you know which stores are good, which ones are not. There's a lot of resellers out there that don't like to share, and that's unfortunate because really we're all here to help each other. There's plenty of inventory out there. I know we're in the Phoenix area. I don't have enough time in a day to go to all the Goodwill stores. So it's just beneficial that we connect with other resellers. I just had coffee with another reseller named Melissa, and she has been so helpful with helping me figure out which stores are good in the area that have inventory, which ones are not. And really we've become friends and we're here to help each other. And one of the last things to think about is reselling is a business. And with a business, you're going to want to set goals. Now, I actually made a reseller notebook that is just a little planner. It has a spot where I can write down my weekly goals, my daily goals. I can write down how many items I listed and sold. And then that way I have a visual of what I need to get done. Because with reselling, there's a lot to do. And sometimes I would find myself not being focused and I would go from one task to another. So I feel like with having a reseller notebook and something to track my tasks, I will be a little bit more efficient and I will get a lot more stuff done. If you're interested in the reseller notebook, I'll leave a link down below. It is on Amazon. It's $7.99. It's very inexpensive. It's just a paperback notebook, but I definitely feel like it is helpful for me to stay focused, and I've been able to get a lot more stuff done. Hopefully you found this video useful. I did a similar video last year, but this year I wanted to do a newer one because I have a couple things that I definitely did not put in the last video, including how resellers are now going to get a 1099K for any revenue over $600 that's new. So that's why I recommended at the beginning, open an LLC, separate your business from your personal, and then also just writing down goals and planning is really important. And so if you have any questions about reselling or starting a reselling business, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. Share this video with other people that you feel would find it useful. Like the video so that way it helps us move up in the searches. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more videos. And until next one, I'll catch you on the flip.